Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And after years of fans complaining about EA and the Star Wars license, things are finally about to change. In a surprising turn of events today, a new Star Wars game was announced, but it wasn't by Electronic Arts. Instead, this is by another very exciting studio that might have some special plans, and we're going to talk all about that today and what all of this means for the future of Star Wars games. I think you're going to like this, so stick around for that. We also got a PS5 game to talk about, some Halo Infinite news, and it's starting to sound like Pokemon has a big announcement planned for next month. Now, I love Pokemon, and I'm more than just a little bit excited about this, so stay tuned for that as well. With that said, let's get right into the news, starting off with one of our first big delays of the year. Yes, unfortunately, we got to talk about a delay today. Hogwarts Legacy is the first victim of 2021 delays. It's been a rather busy week for non-game related IP. We got Indiana Jones news yesterday, and today Star Wars and Harry Potter. With that said, it seemed like we talked about delays on a weekly basis last year, and really things haven't changed that much except for it's a different year. Development is still difficult with all of the new work conditions, so we're going to see delays like this from time to time. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this game, so this is disappointing news. Hogwarts Legacy looks like a very ambitious Harry Potter game, and that's something fans have been wanting for years. It was one of the more highly anticipated 2021 games. Unfortunately though, it's now moved back to 2022, but as we've seen in recent months, delays are often necessary to ensure a better overall final product. Cyberpunk 2077 has faced a ton of scrutiny for this exact reason. That's a game that probably should have been delayed, but here we are, and fans are very angry. In fact, CD Projekt Red is facing several lawsuits, so when you hear a delay like Hogwarts Legacy, I know it's disappointing, but try to understand there is a reason for this. If everything goes right though, we'll get Hogwarts Legacy in 2022, and hopefully, it'll be as good as what everybody's hoping it'll be. We really do need a good Harry Potter game. I mean, this is one of the biggest franchises of all time by a long shot, and it would be great to see it come to games in a meaningful way. Next up, let's talk about an upcoming PS5 exclusive, Returnal. Now, Returnal is a game that I've been rather optimistic about, and that's for a few different reasons. For starters, the studio behind Returnal is House Marquee. They've worked on games like Resogun and Super Stardust, so they clearly know how to make fun arcade-like experiences, and that's the thing. Returnal is a AAA game, so this is new for House Marquee. From everything that I've heard and seen though, it looks like they're making a nice transition as they're trying to mix a AAA experience with arcade-like gameplay. That's very refreshing to hear, and they actually put out a new trailer today detailing its combat. This is a roguelike experience where if you die, you have to start back from the beginning. We usually see this in small indie-type games, but it's interesting to see something like this in a bigger game. Once again, this is why I'm so intrigued by Returnal. It's a mix of fun and addictive arcade gameplay with the production values that you're used to seeing in a AAA experience. Now, in this new trailer, they show off several weapons in which you can augment, and a parasitic-like creature that attaches to the protagonist's arm. As I mentioned, it is a roguelike game, so if you die, you lose all of your weapons and abilities that you built up during your previous playthrough. But it sounds like some abilities will carry over to your next playthrough. I'll be interested to see more on that, but I think the timing of this game is just absolutely perfect. See, if you think about it, it's releasing on the back end of Hades' huge amount of success in 2020. That game won several Game of the Year awards, and some fans might be looking for the next fun roguelike experience, and that could be Returnal. Of course, I'll keep you updated with this game, but I like what I'm seeing and hearing so far about Returnal. I think it looks fun, and Returnal releases on March 19th for the PS5. Now, this next topic is interesting as it's brought up several questions. So Astral Chain released a couple years ago, exclusive for the Nintendo Switch, and this was a partnership between Platinum Games and Nintendo. From my understanding, the two together own the Astral Chain IP, and Platinum Games has expressed interest in making Astral Chain a trilogy. This is something I do hope that they eventually do, because Astral Chain to this day is one of the best Switch exclusives. It really is a phenomenal game, and I highly recommend it if you haven't played it already. Please go do yourself a favor and check that game out. Well, it's now been pointed out that on the Nintendo Japanese website, the copyright holder is now only Nintendo. Platinum Games is no longer mentioned in the copyrights, which begs the question, does Nintendo now fully own the Astral Chain IP. This could just be a simple mistake, as Platinum Games still shows up on the Nintendo eShop, but if it's not a mistake, then Nintendo could technically continue Astral Chain without Platinum Games. Again, Platinum Games has expressed interest in making more Astral Chain games in the future, but at the same time, they may already have spread themselves too thin. They're of course working on Bayonetta 3, Babylon's Fall, and a new IP, so they might not be able to work on an Astral Chain sequel, whereas Nintendo could let one of their own internal teams work on Astral Chain. There's also some speculation that Nintendo may have asked for complete ownership in return for letting Platinum Games release Wonderful 101 as a multi-platform game. That would kind of make sense. That way Nintendo decides the fate of Astral Chain instead of Platinum Games. That, however, does not mean that they'll make a new game without Platinum Games. This is all just speculation, but it does allow Nintendo to make the decisions that they want to for this IP. Let me know though, would you like to see a new Astral Chain, and if it is developed by somebody else, would you lose interest? And speaking of Nintendo, I said this a couple weeks ago, but you're going to hear a lot about anniversaries this year. There's a lot of beloved franchises that has meaningful anniversaries this year, including Pokemon. Yes, it's the 25th anniversary for Pokemon, and I can't tell you how much Pokemon has meant to me since I was a little kid. I was here for the original Red and Blue, and that is one of the most memorable games for me ever made. I was absolutely obsessed with Pokemon as a kid, and I still play these games a lot to this day. It truly is one of my favorite franchises of all time, and it's a big reason I got into gaming as a kid. I would not be who I am without the Pokemon franchise. So I'm absolutely thrilled about the 25th anniversary for Pokemon, and that's because I personally believe that they're going to have some very special reveals this year. In fact, a well-known insider, Kelios, is saying that there will be a Pokemon Direct in February. Now, he also said back in, I believe it was November, that there will be a Diamond and Pearl remake in 2021. He also said that there will be another Detective Pikachu, so if all of this happens, this will be a huge year for Pokemon. Let's not forget that there's also a new Pokemon Snap, and I can honestly say I'm very excited about that game. I love the original Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo 64. It's kind of hard explaining why that game was so good, but there's a ton of secrets to find, and trying to beat your high scores, it's just a fun game. I really hope the new one is as good as the original, if not even better. What I will say though is that the trailer is certainly promising, so I think this will be a really good game, but we'll have to wait and see ourselves. The question though is, will there actually be a Pokemon Direct as Kelios has leaked? As always, you have to take these leaks with a grain of salt, but I do think that there is a reason to believe this, and I'll explain why. Pokemon Day is on February 27th, and it is the 25th anniversary. We've already seen that they're taking the 25th anniversary serious, and they just made some announcements today actually. I guess Katy Perry will be doing a Pokemon collaboration, and then the original Pokemon cards are making a comeback, but it only makes sense that they're going to make their biggest announcements on Pokemon Day, or at least near it, which again is February 27th. Now there's no guarantee on that, but I do think it's very likely to happen. What exactly will they show though? Well, that's debatable, but if Kelios is to be trusted, then we could be looking at a Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remake, Detective Pikachu, and of course, as I just mentioned, more information on new Pokemon Snap. That would be a fantastic way to celebrate Pokemon Day, but it is important to remember that Pokemon goes beyond just games. We could get a movie-related announcement, maybe some anime stuff, new merchandise, and just who knows. All I know is, as a Pokemon fan, I'm excited to see what they have in store for next month. I'm personally really hoping for that Diamond and Pearl remake. I'm crossing my fingers for that to happen. Nonetheless, I hope something comes out of this, but we're going to have to wait and see. However, let me know what you would like to see from Pokemon during its 25th anniversary. Let's talk about Halo Infinite for a moment though, because a new rumor popped up that I personally thought was great news. This one is coming from Clobril, which is highly respected among the Xbox community. He does have some inside sources, and he claims that Halo Infinite will not have a Battle Royale mode. Instead, however, it'll have Big Team Battles 2.0, which in my opinion is so much better. I've mentioned this before, but I'm just not a big fan of Battle Royale games. If you like them, that's awesome. But for me, I've always liked arena shooters and tactical shooters much more. Halo, Gears, Killzone, Unreal Tournament, Rainbow Six Siege, and Overwatch is the type of games I like. They're a lot different than Battle Royale games, so if they stick with big team battles and expand upon that, then I view that as a major plus. In fact, I've always played big team battles a lot when playing Halo. I like mixing in that vehicle combat. Now, we don't know all the details on Big Team Battles 2.0 right now, but I'll be interested to see how they expand that formula to make it even better. On to our final topic though. A new Star Wars game was revealed, and it's not related to Electronic Arts, which means they will no longer hold the licensing for the Star Wars franchise. This instead is being developed by Ubisoft Massive Entertainment. Now that's exciting on its own. Massive Entertainment is insanely talented. This is the Division studio, so we know they can make a good game. However, we don't know a lot of details right now about this upcoming Star Wars, other than it's made by a very talented Ubisoft studio. It's in early development, so we're probably not going to see an official release for several years. It's also an open world game built on the Snowdrop engine, so it's probably going to look visually stunning as well. Ubisoft, for that matter, does a great job with their big open world games. Assassin's Creed, The Division, Far Cry, and Immortals are all great open world games, and I would even consider them among the very best within the industry. Other than that though, not much is really known about this upcoming Star Wars game. Now, Massive Entertainment is also working on an Avatar game, and this will not affect that, so no worries there. But this is a really big deal. I mean, we're talking about one of the most popular franchises of all time, and EA has had the Star Wars license locked down since 2012, and this was never great for fans. Of course, EA was going to make a lot of money from it, but they left a lot to be desired with the Star Wars license, or at least until recently. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was great, and then you had Squadrons, but other than that, it hasn't been great. Battlefront has been okay other than the microtransactions, but in terms of single-player games, they could have done so much more with this IP, and that's why this is such great news. Star Wars is no longer locked down to a singular publisher, and we could see a lot more ambitious single-player Star Wars games come from multiple studios in the future. I know a lot of fans would like to see a new Knights of the Old Republic. Maybe Obsidian could work on that in the future. It might not ever happen, but it is in the realms of possibilities now. You may be wondering though, what about EA? Again, they did release Jedi Fallen Order, which is debatably one of the best Star Wars games of all time. Well, they did post a response to all of the news today, and this is what they had to say. We are proud of our long-standing collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, which will continue for years to come. What this means is that they can still work on Star Wars games if they want to. There still is that possibility of a Jedi Fallen Order sequel developed by the highly talented Respawn Entertainment. It's just that the entire Star Wars license is no longer just theirs to play around with, and that's the way it should have always been. It should have never been locked down to just one publisher, and each license should have been carefully thought about by a game-by-game basis. Here we are though, and Star Wars fans, you have a lot to look forward to. I expect the next 10 years to produce a lot more good Star Wars experiences than the last decade. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.